Commander Lisa Kent stood at the large window of Earth Space Station Alpha, watching the alien ship approach. It was beautiful in a strange way. The ship looked like a giant crystal that caught the light from the distant sun. Next to her, Admiral Frank Powell kept his face calm, but Lisa could see his hand grip the railing tightly. "They're almost here," Lisa said. "First contact with the Zarthian Empire. Do you think they come in peace?" Frank's eyes narrowed. "I hope so. But I've been in space long enough to know that hope isn't a strategy." The meeting room had been prepared for days. Earth's best diplomats, scientists, and military leaders waited as the alien delegation arrived. The Zarthians moved with a fluid grace that made them seem almost like they were floating. Their skin was nearly see-through, with lights that pulsed beneath the surface. The tallest one, clearly their leader, stepped forward. "I am High Commander Zex of the Zarthian Empire," it said through a translator device. Its voice sounded both mechanical and musical at the same time. "We have observed your world for some time." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. They had been watching Earth. For how long? The human diplomat, Ben Harris, stepped forward with a smile. "We welcome you to Earth and hope this meeting marks the beginning of friendship between our peoples." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Friendship? That is not why we are here. We have come to inform you that your solar system now falls within Zarthian territory." The room went silent. Lisa looked at Frank, whose face had turned to stone. "Surely we can discuss terms that benefit both our species," Ben said, his voice steady despite the shock. "There is nothing to discuss," Zex replied. "You will submit to Zarthian rule or face elimination. It is very simple." Admiral Powell stepped forward now. "Earth and her colonies will never submit to foreign rule. We have a fleet that will defend our home." At this, all the Zarthians made the strange laughing sound. Their skin flashed with bright colors, as they found this funny. "Yes, we have scanned your ships," Zex said. "Ancient technology. Combustion engines, nuclear power, primitive weapons." The alien waved a long, thin arm dismissively. "In our empire, such vessels would be in museums." Lisa felt anger rise in her chest, but kept quiet. "Let them think that," she thought. "You have 20 Earth days to prepare your leaders for our return," Zex continued. "At that time, you will formally surrender, or we will demonstrate our power on your major cities." With that, the aliens turned and left, not bothering with goodbyes. As soon as they were gone, Frank turned to the room. "Get me a secure line to Ceres Command now." 10 minutes later, in a private room, Lisa watched as Frank spoke to the screen showing General Steve Rogers at the secret base hidden in the asteroid belt. "They took the bait," Frank said. "They think our ships are primitive junk." Steve nodded on the screen. "How long do we have?" 20 days until they return." "Is the real fleet ready?" "Almost. We need maybe 2 more weeks to finish the final systems. The outer shells look just like our old ships. But underneath," Steve smiled. "Well, let's just say the Zarthians are in for a big surprise." Lisa looked at the plans on her tablet. Operation Trojan Horse had been in place for 50 years, ever since humans found that crashed alien ship on Mars. Instead of announcing the discovery, Earth's leaders had made a different choice. They studied the advanced technology in secret, built their own versions, and hid them inside ships that looked old and weak. "Send the alert to all ship captains," Frank ordered. "Protocol Lazarus is now active. It's time to wake our sleeping giants." Lisa felt a mix of fear and pride. The Zarthians had laughed at humanity's fleet. Soon, they would learn their mistake. Sometimes, the most dangerous weapon was the one the enemy didn't know existed. Chief Engineer Alan Murphy wiped sweat from his forehead as he crawled out of the narrow maintenance shaft. The inside of the battleship U.S. Defiance was a maze of cables, pipes, and hidden technology that no alien scanner could detect. For 50 years, humanity had kept its biggest secret, the crashed alien ship found on Mars, and all the knowledge gained from it. "How's the gravity drive looking?" asked Samantha Cole, his assistant. She handed him a clean cloth for his hands. Almost ready, Alan said. The outer hull still looks like we're using old fusion engines, but once we drop the disguise. He smiled. These ships will move faster than anything the Zarthians have ever seen. They stood on a viewing platform in the massive underground hangar on Ceres, the largest asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. Below them, hundreds of workers moved around what appeared to be an outdated warship, but appearances were deceiving. The U.S. Defiance will lead the second attack group, Samantha said, checking her tablet. Admiral Hudson wants all ships ready in 12 days. Alan nodded. We'll be ready. What about the weapon systems? The phase cannons are installed. We're testing the quantum shields today. A loud alarm suddenly rang through the hangar. Red lights flashed along the walls. What's that? Alan asked, already moving toward the control room with Samantha right behind him. Inside the busy control center, screens showed a message from Earth. Protokego Alizar US activated. General Steve Rogers stood at the main console, his face serious. The Zarthians have given Earth 20 days to surrender. We have less time than we thought to get the fleet ready. We can do it, sir, Alan said. Most systems are already installed. We just need to finish calibrations and run final tests. No time for full testing, Steve said. The President has ordered all ships to be ready in 10 days. Half the Zarthian fleet has stayed in Earth orbit. They're watching our official shipyards, laughing at our primitive vessels. Samantha looked worried. But sir, the quantum shields haven't been fully tested. If they fail during battle, then we'll rely on conventional shields as backup. Steve cut in. This is why we built redundant systems. Alan understood the pressure. 50 years ago, when scientists first discovered the alien wreck on Mars, world leaders had made a difficult choice. Instead of announcing the find and showing how advanced the technology was, they kept it secret. They studied it slowly and carefully. They built their own versions and hid them inside ships that looked old from the outside. I want regular progress reports, Steve ordered. Every 12 hours. Now get back to work. As they left the control room, Samantha looked at Alan. 10 days. Is that even possible? It has to be, he replied. The disguise was always the plan. Let them think we're weak. Let them get close and comfortable. But now we need to speed things up. They walked quickly through the busy hangar. All around them, workers were moving faster, checking systems, installing weapons. Everyone knew what was at stake. Alan stopped by a large container marked Hull Section 47B. He opened it to show what looked like ordinary metal plates. See these, he said to Samantha. Normal steel on the outside. But underneath, he turned one plate over to reveal a shimmering material that seemed to change color as it moved. Quantum-locked alloy. Stronger than anything Earth scientists could have made on their own. The Zarthians think our ships are made of weak metals. They have no idea. Samantha ran her hand over the special metal. How many ships will be ready in 10 days? Enough, Alan said. The U.S. Defiance and at least 20 others. Maybe not our whole fleet, but enough to surprise them. A voice came over the speakers. All section leaders report to Hangar Bay 4. Priority alert. Alan looked at Samantha. Let's go. We had a lot of work to do and not much time. As they hurried across the hangar, they passed what looked like an old missile. But like everything else in the secret fleet, its ordinary appearance hid something extraordinary. When the Zarthians came back to demand Earth's surrender, they would learn a harsh lesson about judging by appearances. Admiral Eric Hudson stood on the bridge of the U.S. Vindicator, watching Earth grow smaller on the main screen. His ship looked old and weak from the outside. The Zarthian ships in orbit didn't even bother to follow as the human fleet left Earth. They thought they were watching outdated ships running away. Status report, Eric ordered, his voice calm despite the tension in the air. All 30 ships have cleared Earth orbit, sir, reported Officer Susan Garcia from her communications station. The Zarthians are tracking us, but taking no action. They think we're running scared, said Officer Bill Hart with a small smile. Their scans show exactly what we want them to see. Eric nodded. For 10 days, engineers like Alan Murphy had worked non-stop to prepare the secret fleet. Now it was time to see if their plan would work. Message from Zarthian command ship, sir, Susan said suddenly. Her face looked grim as she listened to her earpiece. They're demanding Earth's surrender within 12 hours. If we don't comply, they will begin bombing major cities. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Everyone knew what was at stake. Send to all ships, Eric said. Maintain radio silence after this transmission. No signals that might reveal our true capabilities. Continue on course until we reach Point Delta. Then we turn and show these aliens what humans are really capable of. Yes, sir, Susan replied, sending the message. The fleet moved slowly away from Earth, just as expected of old ships with basic engines. The Zarthians kept most of their fleet in Earth orbit, confident in their superior technology and firepower. Only 3 Zarthian ships followed the human fleet, keeping a safe distance as if studying these strange humans and their outdated vessels. 6 hours later, the fleet reached Point Delta, a position just beyond the moon's orbit. Here, far enough from Earth that the main Zarthian fleet couldn't respond quickly, Eric gave the order they had all been waiting for. All ships, execute turn maneuver. Prepare for battle configuration on my mark. The human ships slowly began to turn, still moving like old vessels. On the screens, the 3 Zarthian ships continued to watch, not seeing any threat. Sir, incoming transmission from Zarthian scout ship, Susan announced. On screen, Eric ordered. The face of a Zarthian commander appeared. Its skin glowed with blue and purple lights that seemed to show amusement. Where are you going with these museum pieces, humans? The alien asked. Running away will not save your planet, except that you are now part of the Zarthian Empire. Eric stood tall, his uniform neat, and his expression confident. We are not running. We are giving you one chance to leave our system peacefully. The alien made the strange laughing sound they had all come to hate. Your bravery is admirable, but foolish. What can these ancient ships do against our technology? You're about to find out, Eric replied. He made a cutting motion with his hand, and Susan ended the transmission. They're scanning us again, sir, Bill reported from Tactical. Still reading only basic systems. Their shields aren't even active. Eric allowed himself a small smile. Perfect. All ships, this is Admiral Hudson. Execute Protocol Lazarus. I repeat, execute Protocol Lazarus. Throughout the fleet, hidden systems came to life. False hull plates prepared to fall away. Disguised weapons powered up. The real fleet was about to reveal itself. Weapons officer, target the lead Zarthian vessel, Eric ordered. Communications, send to all ships. Shed your skins. On the bridge of the U.S. Vindicator, lights dimmed briefly as the ship's true power systems came online. The hum of the engines changed from the rumble of fusion drives to the near-silent purr of gravity technology. Panels slid open along the hull, revealing weapons the Zarthians had never seen before. Sir, the Zarthians are hailing us, Susan said urgently. They're detecting power surges across our fleet. Too late for talking, Eric replied. They had their chance. Fire when ready. The first shots from the human fleet were about to be fired. The Zarthians who had laughed at the Relic ships were about to learn a painful lesson about judging books by their covers. Lieutenant Commander John Baker's hands were steady on the controls of the destroyer U.S. Resilience. Like all ships in the human fleet, the Resilience looked old and basic from the outside. The Zarthians had no idea what was about to happen. All systems ready for Protocol Lazarus, reported Weapons Officer Patricia Wright. Her voice was calm, but John could see the excitement in her eyes. False hull ready to detach. Hidden weapons charge. They still think we're harmless, John said, watching the alien ships on his screen. The 3 Zarthian vessels hung in space, keeping what they thought was a safe distance. Their smooth, crystal-like hulls glittered in the sunlight, beautiful but deadly. "They're not even raising shields," Patricia noted. "Their weapons are powered down." John nodded. "Their arrogance will cost them today." A message came from the U.S. Vindicator. "All ships, this is Admiral Hudson. Execute Protocol Lazarus. I repeat, execute Protocol Lazarus." John took a deep breath. This was the moment they had prepared for over many years. "Begin the transformation," he ordered. "Show them what we really are." Throughout the ship, crew members activated hidden systems. The outer layer of the hull, designed to fool alien scanners, began to separate in sections. Underneath was a smooth, dark material that seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. Panels slid open to reveal advanced weapons. The ship's engines changed from standard fusion to gravity drives that bent space itself. On the main screen, John could see the other human ships also changing. What had looked like a ragtag collection of outdated vessels was transforming into a sleek, deadly armada. "The Zarthians are scanning us," reported Sensor Officer Rick Davis. "Their energy readings just spiked. I think they're finally getting worried." "Too late for them," John replied. "Target the smallest Zarthian ship. Let's test our weapons." Patricia's fingers flew over her console. Target locked. Phase cannon ready. Fire. A beam of energy. Not light or plasma, but something that existed partly in another dimension. Shot from the Resilience. It hit the Zarthian ship and passed right through its shields, as if they weren't there. The alien vessel's hull cracked open, and air escaped in a silent plume. "Direct hit," Patricia announced. Their shields didn't stop it. Across the fleet, other human ships were firing too. The second Zarthian ship tried to turn away, but advanced torpedoes from the U.S. Vindicator caught it. The torpedoes didn't explode like normal weapons. They created tiny black holes that pulled the ship apart piece by piece. The largest Zarthian vessel was now trying to escape. Its engines glowed bright as it accelerated. "They're calling for help," Rick said, listening to the alien communications, sending a message to their main fleet. John leaned forward. "We can't let them warn the others." Engineering, full power to gravity drive. Pursuit course. The Resilient surged forward with impossible speed. The stars on the view screen blurred as the ship moved faster than any human vessel had publicly done before. In seconds, they were alongside the fleeing Zarthian ship. "They're charging weapons," Patricia warned. The alien ship fired. Beams of bright energy shot toward the Resilience. "Quantum shields holding," Rick reported. "No damage." John looked at Patricia. "Fire all weapons. Don't let them send that message." The Resilience unleashed its full arsenal. Phase cannons, gravity torpedoes, and particle beams struck the Zarthian ship from multiple angles. Its beautiful crystal hull shattered like glass. Light flashed as its power core destabilized, and then it was gone, leaving only floating debris. "Target destroyed," Patricia confirmed. No transmissions got out. John looked at the main screen. All three Zarthian scout ships were now destroyed. The first part of humanity's counterattack had worked perfectly. But the real battle was still to come. The main Zarthian fleet, over 30 ships, remained in Earth orbit, still believing they faced only primitive human technology. "Signal Admiral Hudson," John ordered. "The Resilience is ready for Phase 2. The human fleet regrouped, preparing to return to Earth. Now the Zarthians would face the full power of humanity's secret weapons. The aliens had laughed at the Relic fleet. They weren't laughing anymore. Captain Greg Foster stood on the bridge of the battlecruiser U.S. Indomitable as it led the human fleet back toward Earth. The main Zarthian fleet was still in orbit, unaware that their scout ships had been destroyed. They didn't know what was coming. "Status report," Greg ordered, his voice firm and clear. "All systems at full power," replied his second-in-command, Officer Kate Wright. "The false hull sections have been completely jettisoned. Our true weapons are ready." "And the Zarthian fleet?" Greg asked. still in Earth orbit. 32 ships total. Their flagship is in the center of their formation, Kate said, pointing to the large display screen. They haven't raised shields yet. I don't think they know their scouts are gone. Greg nodded. This was the advantage they needed. Admiral Hudson's plan was working perfectly so far. The Zarthians had seen only what humans wanted them to see, until now. Message from Admiral Hudson, announced Communications Officer Pete Hansen. All ships to take attack positions. The Indomitable will target the Zarthian flagship. Greg felt a surge of pride. His ship carried the most powerful weapon in the human fleet, the Gravity Lance. It was based on technology from the crashed alien ship found on Mars decades ago, but human engineers had improved it. Helm, take us in, Greg ordered. Full speed, but stay with the fleet. The human ships accelerated toward Earth, moving much faster than the Zarthians thought possible. On the main screen, Greg could see the blue-green planet growing larger. Around it, the crystal ships of the Zarthian fleet still hung in orbit, unaware of the threat approaching. They've spotted us, Kate reported suddenly. They're scanning our ships. I can see their confusion. The energy readings don't match what they saw before. Greg smiled grimly. Now they learned the truth. The Zarthian fleet began to move, forming a defensive pattern, but they were slow to react, still not understanding what they faced. They're hailing us, Pete said. The Zarthian commander wants to speak. On screen, Greg replied. The face of a Zarthian appeared. Its skin flashed with colors showing surprise and anger. What trickery is this? It demanded. Your ships, they are not what they appeared to be. No trickery, Greg answered calmly. Just strategy. You came to our home and threatened us. Now you will see what happens to those who threaten Earth. He cut the connection with a gesture. Weapons Officer Ryan Lee, prepare the Gravity Lance. Target their flagship. Ryan's fingers moved quickly over his console. Gravity Lance charged and ready, Captain. Target locked. Around the Indomitable, the rest of the human fleet spread out in attack formation. The Zarthian ships were now raising shields, but too late. They had been caught off guard. Fire, Greg ordered. The Gravity Lance fired. It wasn't a beam of light or energy. It was a distortion in space itself. It passed through the Zarthian shields as if they weren't there. When it reached the flagship, it compressed the space around the ship. Metal twisted and crystal shattered as part of the alien vessel was crushed by forces it couldn't resist. Across the battlefield, other human ships fired their weapons. Phase-shifted torpedoes that existed partly in another dimension. Quantum beam weapons that the Zarthians had never seen before. The advanced shields on human ships absorbed or deflected the Zarthian return fire. Their flagship is heavily damaged but still operational, Ryan reported. The rest of their fleet is moving to protect it. The U.S. Resilience reports 3 more Zarthian ships destroyed, Pete added. The U.S. Vindicator has taken down 2. Greg watched the battle unfold on his screen. The human fleet was outnumbered, 30 human ships against 32 Zarthian vessels. But the element of surprise had given them a critical advantage. The Zarthians had come expecting to face primitive technology. Instead, they faced weapons and defenses they didn't understand. Gravity Lance recharge, Ryan announced. Ready to fire again. Target their flagship's engine section, Greg ordered. Let's make sure they can't escape. As the Indomitable prepared to fire again, Greg allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The aliens had laughed at humanity's Relic fleet, but the laughter had stopped, replaced by the chaos of battle and the shocking realization that they had badly underestimated their opponent. They're retreating, shouted Navigator Linda Hayes. Her eyes were fixed on the main screen of the U.S. Vindicator, where the remaining Zarthian ships were breaking formation. Turning away from Earth, Admiral Eric Hudson watched carefully. After 2 hours of intense battle, the human fleet had destroyed 17 Zarthian ships. The aliens had only managed to damage 3 human vessels. Now the surviving Zarthians were running. Confirm their course, Eric ordered. Linda checked her instruments. They're heading out of the solar system, sir. Definitely retreating. A cheer went up across the bridge, but Eric raised his hand for quiet. This isn't over, he said firmly. If they escape, they'll return with reinforcements. He pressed a button on his chair. All ships, this is Admiral Hudson. The enemy is retreating. We cannot allow them to reach their homeworld with information about our true capabilities. Pursuit course. Stop them at all costs. Officer Susan Garcia looked up from her communication station. U.S. Indomitable reports their gravity lance is offline after that last hit, but they can still join the pursuit with standard weapons. Tell Captain Foster to fall in behind us, Eric said. Thus Resilience will take point. They're the fastest ship we have. The human fleet, still in their true form with advanced hulls and weapons now fully visible, moved quickly after the fleeing Zarthians. The ships that once appeared slow and clumsy now showed their real speed, rapidly gaining on the aliens. Lieutenant Commander John Baker's voice came over the communication system from the U.S. Resilience. Admiral, we've caught up with their rear ships. Engaging now. Eric watched on the tactical display as the Resilience and 2 other destroyers attacked 3 Zarthian ships that had fallen behind. The phase cannons cut through the alien defenses. Within minutes, 2 more enemy vessels were destroyed. The 3rd managed to accelerate away. Sir, Susan said urgently, we're picking up unusual energy readings from the Zarthian flagship. They appear to be powering up some kind of communication device, much stronger than standard signals. Eric immediately understood. They're trying to send a message to their homeworld, a faster-than-light communication. We can't let that happen. He turned to Weapons Officer Jack Miller. Target their flagship with everything we have. 4 human ships converged on the damaged Zarthian flagship. It was already leaking atmosphere from the earlier hits by the Indomitable's gravity lance. Now it faced the combined firepower of multiple human vessels. They've activated some kind of shield we haven't seen before, reported Sensor Officer Dan Scott. It's absorbing our phase cannon fire. Eric leaned forward in his chair. Switched to gravity torpedoes. They distort space. No shield can stop that. The human ships adjusted their attack. Small, dark projectiles launched from the U.S. Vindicator. They didn't look dangerous, just black dots against the stars. But when they hit the space around the Zarthian flagship, reality itself seemed to bend. The shield flickered and failed as space warped around it. Now, Eric ordered, all ships, concentrate fire. A barrage of weapons fire from the human fleet struck the Zarthian flagship from multiple directions. Its beautiful crystal structure, already damaged, finally broke apart. The powerful communication array, still charging, exploded in a flash of blue light. Target destroyed, Susan reported. No transmission was sent. Eric nodded grimly. How many Zarthian ships remain? 7, sir, Linda replied. They're still running, moving beyond Mars orbit now. Continue pursuit, Eric ordered. We can't let any of them escape. For the next hour, the human fleet hunted down the remaining Zarthian ships one by one. The final vessel, a small scout ship, almost made it to the edge of the solar system before the U.S. Resilience caught it and destroyed it with a precise shot to its engines. All enemy ships confirmed destroyed, Susan announced finally. A tired cheer went up across the bridge. Eric allowed himself a small smile. The battle was over. Earth was safe, for now, but he knew this was just the beginning. The Zarthian Empire would wonder what happened to their fleet. Sooner or later, they would send more ships to investigate. Signal all vessels, he said. Return to Earth orbit, and send a message to Cirrus Command. Tell them to accelerate production. We need more ships with these advanced systems. The human fleet, battered but victorious, turned back toward the blue planet they had successfully defended. 1 month after the battle, Commander Lisa Kent stood beside Admiral Frank Powell in the grand meeting hall of the Galactic Conclave. Around them sat representatives from 27 alien species, Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Lisa could barely understand how they could be alive. All of them were now listening carefully to what the humans had to say. This meeting was very different from the first contact with the Zarthians. After defeating the Zarthian fleet, Earth had sent messages to other known civilizations in nearby star systems. Many were surprised to learn that humans had such advanced technology. All of them wanted to know how Earth had defeated the powerful Zarthian Empire. Admiral Powell stepped forward to speak. His voice was calm and clear as it carried across the large room. For centuries, humans wondered if we were alone in the universe, he began. 50 years ago, we found our answer when a damaged alien ship crashed on Mars. Instead of announcing our discovery, we made a difficult choice. We kept it secret. We studied the technology. We learned from it. We improved it, all while pretending to be less advanced than we really were. The alien representatives murmured among themselves. Lisa saw some showing signs of surprise, others nodding with what seemed like respect. We knew someday we would meet other civilizations, Powell continued. We hoped for peaceful contact, but we prepared for all possibilities. When the Zarthians came demanding our surrender, threatening our cities, we were ready. A tall, blue-skinned alien stood up. The Zarthian Empire has conquered 12 worlds in the last 100 years. No one has ever defeated their fleets. Until now. Powell nodded. They underestimated us. They saw only what we wanted them to see. A wise strategy, said another alien with 4 arms and golden eyes. But now that the secret is revealed, what will Earth do? Will you use this technology to expand, to conquer, as the Zarthians did? Lisa stepped forward. That is not our way, she said firmly. Earth seeks friendship and trade. We want to learn from other cultures, not dominate them. But we will always defend ourselves. The meeting continued for hours as humans and aliens discussed the future. By the end, 6 different species had offered trade agreements. 3 more wanted to exchange scientific knowledge. Even those who remained cautious agreed to basic diplomatic relations. Later, Lisa and Powell stood at a large window overlooking the conclave space station. Below them, Earth shone like a blue jewel. What do you think will happen when the Zarthian Empire realizes their fleet was destroyed? Lisa asked quietly. They'll send more ships eventually, Powell replied. But not right away. And when they do come, they won't be laughing at our Relic fleet. And we won't be alone, Lisa added, thinking of the new allies they had made. The Zarthians bullied and conquered their way across the galaxy. Many of these species have suffered under their rule. Powell nodded. We've already shared some of our technology with our new allies. The next time the Zarthians come looking for an easy conquest, they'll find a united front. Chief Engineer Alan Murphy joined them at the window. The production facilities on Ceres are running at full capacity, he reported. We'll have twice as many ships within a year. And the new designs are even better than before. We won't hide our capabilities anymore, Powell said. No more false hulls or disguised weapons. The galaxy now knows that humanity is a force to be respected. Lisa smiled as she looked out at the stars. The path ahead would not be easy. The Zarthians would return someday, angry and seeking revenge. But humans had proven they could stand against any threat. From primitive cave dwellers to space travelers, humanity had always adapted and survived. When the Zarthians had laughed at their Relic fleet, they had made a fatal mistake. They had forgotten the most important lesson about humans: never judge by appearances alone. Earth had taken its place among the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same again.